it's still very frustrating when you can't focus, you can't remember things, you're losing track all the time. And it's difficult to achieve things in the way that society wants you to. There's many different mechanisms within plants in terms of how they help with focus. So one of the main ones.
All right, when it comes to focus, some of us are super sharp, but maybe for yourself or somebody you know, you have trouble focusing, keeping on track, keeping topic. Where are my keys? Topics of conversation, things within yourself. Maybe you've even been diagnosed with ADD, ADHD. There is help. And I'm here with Holly Jones, clinical herbalist of ElderSong Herbals. And we want to talk a little bit about the role that herbs can play to help create focus and just like a mental entrainment, shall we say? Because I imagine, the incidence for sure, let's just take ADD, ADHD, that is definitely like increasing in society. And of course, the most prevalent, common suggestion that someone's going to get, a path they might try is pharmaceutical. And we're not here to say that is the right path or the wrong path. We're just here to say that there are other options, right? You can explore nutritional paths and ideas. And of course, Holly, being a clinical herbalist, she's very well versed in herbs and how those play a role. So from your perspective, somebody's like, if you were to meet my father, he would say like, I don't believe in herbs, Holly. How can plants do that? How can plants help with focus and
Yeah, well, there's many different mechanisms within plants in terms of how they help with focus. So one of the main ones is bringing circulation to your brain. Sometimes there's a little bit of a lack if especially maybe you've experienced being a little bit inactive and your brain gets kind of foggy. So that's one of the main things, is like bringing blood and circulation to your brain. And that's sort of like step one. But there's also a lot of herbs the chemistry is really interesting because they will help to increase nerve growth factor. So that is what helps us with neuroplasticity. So when you're building new neural pathways, so when you're learning something, when you're like trying to focus, when you're trying to build habits, it can be really helpful to have herbs as these supportive characters in your life. And I think it's really important to hold space for maybe not wanting to pursue a diagnosis for something because it's a pain. It's actually really expensive to get a diagnosis for ADHD as an adult if you don't have benefits or the resources. And also maybe people are like, well, I have all the symptoms and it wasn't diagnosed, but that doesn't mean my life is any less frustrating.
Right.
Because, there's an aspect of wanting to accept that there is a part of you that this is how your brain is, and you're not gonna maybe fit into the square hole that society has designed for you. But it's still very frustrating when you can't focus, you can't remember things, you're losing track all the time. And it's difficult to achieve things in the way that society wants you to. So an aspect of how to work with that is to build systems and structures in your life and design your life for how you are and how you want to live. And that's where I think herbs and the way that they reduce oxidative stress in your brain so you can think more clearly, you can produce the neurotransmitters that help with focus and building new neural pathways and bringing circulation to your brain. That's where herbs can really shine in your life and help to cultivate that lifestyle that's going to support you.
Cool, amazing. So this is something that you will be presenting a class on, in depth. more than just a 4-minute video can cover. But we wanted to just let you know, if you weren't kind of already trying to follow this trail, that it's possible, and that there are experts that have, deep domain knowledge that can, help further that journey, put you on the right track. So you tell us a little bit about this class you have coming up.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about different strategies, but obviously we're gonna talk about 5 herbs in depth, and we're gonna be trying them and seeing how they feel in our bodies, how they taste, because there's so much information out there about herbs that are good for this, good for that. And you don't know if it's good for you until you try it, or until you, as a herbalist, I trained in like finding patterns in people and like knowing herbs very well and trying to match that to people, like their constitutions, their energy. So we're going to be trying the herbs ourselves and like going in depth and learning about them. So there will be tools to work with at the end of it, both herbs and just strategies in and of themselves. Some nutrition stuff too.
Yeah, cool. So
Yeah.
highly beneficial, and encouraging you if you can join in person. It's going to be Saturday, May 10th, 1 till 3, and it's here in person at Light Cellar, and it's going to be amazing.
Yes, it's going to be very interactive. So I look forward to meeting all of you.
All right, so bring your questions and get ready to taste some herbs and dive deep with Holly. We'll see you then.
See you then.